Welcome to a Soccer Down Here special. We'll call it that. I mean, there's two of us, Maddie, and we get to discuss an entire team. And so it can't quite be a 1v1, can't quite be a 2v1. So it's just a special covering what's been going on with the extended national teams and a visit from one of them in Kennesaw.
Absolutely. I believe we found out earlier this week that the CP US men's national team would be playing up at Kennesaw. So, my alum, I gotta support everything that's going on at Kennesaw. They were at the Perch, which is it's almost like our track. Like it's a trail that a lot of people use for like running. They also have some practice fields on there, but it was a lot of fun. It was fun I didn't know that they were training up at Kennesaw. So here we are.
5 days for the US Cerebral Palsy men's national team, a training camp in preparation for World Cup in November. And over the span of the next little bit, we catch up with head coach Stuart Sharp, someone who is at the forefront of growing the sport and its awareness in the Western frontier. And we'll find out what it's like for Jacob Crumbley in Harris County and what it's been like for him. And then a really special individual in Josh Brunais, the 2023 Male Player of the Year. So really, really cool stuff. You and I got to go up there for practice one day. You went up for a second day for some follow-ups and just to kind of get the lay of the land. What was it like to see yet another national team be a part of the process of having national teams gravitating here, knowing that the National Training Center is being built in the Southern Crescent? But once again, you're seeing national teams on all levels coming to this particular part of the planet.
I mean, I think it goes to show the growth of soccer just here in Georgia. As being the epicenter, it is soccer here. It's a soccer state. It's a soccer town. And we're seeing that grow, especially with the USA facility being built here, the training ground. That's going to be huge. And you're going to see a lot more teams coming up, training, maybe having some practices, some camps, as we're seeing with the extended national teams doing all that stuff. You're also going to see a lot of homegrown talent being produced, which is exactly what happened in this training camp for the CP US men's national team. A lot of homegrown players are here and they get the chance to play in their hometown. They don't have to travel that far. It's a great area and it's a great opportunity to build up, especially for when we get the training facility.
Yep, get to sleep in their own beds, roll out, and just head over to the Perch over at Kennesaw State for 5 days. You can't beat that. So what we'll do is catch up with some folks, and we'll start off with our first interview. The man in charge, the head coach, Stuart Sharp, who lives in Marietta but knows what it's like to be a part of the process and its growth. All right, so what's it like to be here with this particular camp, knowing that while it is 6 months away, it's not really 6 months away?
Yeah, 6 months away, it's still important, and the facilities here at Kennesaw University are the perfect setting for us to work towards our goals at the World Cup. 6 months, but it's going to come at us very fast, so it's great to be here.
Any particular markers or goals that you have set other than like general player observation? Is this just another chapter in the book, or what specific markers are you looking at with this camp?
No, every camp we come in, we have our goals and our objectives. This camp very much, we're looking at some youth players, but we're also developing our style of play. And on this particular camp, we're looking at how we transition after winning the ball in deep areas that we do very well. How can we secure possession and then turn it into a chance at the other side? And then also when we're in comfortable possession, how we can move the opponent and create 1v0s and 1v1s on the weak side of play. So this camp's really attacking focused, following from our last one in Rome, Georgia, and then we'll build in some other style of play elements as we get closer to the competition.
So the camp up at Darlington, what did you pull from that you've tried to apply to this one, even if it's not on the field stuff, it could be off the field stuff that you learned about yourselves? What did you pull from that Rome camp?
Yeah, the Rome camp was important. First of all, I learned to project my voice. We don't have the train passing by as much. I'll go again because you'll not use that. From the camp in Darlington to this one here, we've pulled some elements from, again, our counter-attack play, and mainly talking about, again, how we secure the possession and turn them into chances to score against our opponent. But the other big thing is we recognised that it had been a couple of months since our last get-together when we gathered in Rome. So This camp, we're going to talk about growing our culture, ensuring that we have a holistic approach both on the field and off the field, and everyone feels supported and everyone's focused on winning and reaching our goals at the World Cup itself.
That's really cool to sit there and have to try to figure out the holistic approach and develop the culture. I mean, what even in these small sample sizes, what are you seeing in the development of that culture here, that things are just getting started though?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things we're looking at, and it's one of our key anchors, is to be brave, right? And what does that mean? It means that being brave on the ball, to then go and take responsibility to win, to be brave in the tackle, but also to be brave to step up and be a leader on the field, as well as in the locker room, or when we're having our team meetings, when we're talking about tactical sessions, being brave to stick your hand up, ask a question that you might feel silly. So being brave is a big thing. Diversity is another, that we want to be diverse in our approach on the field. We want to not be predictable in our style of play, but also we want to celebrate the diversity we have in our locker room. We have players coming from military backgrounds, from college backgrounds, people who have newly acquired their disability. So again, share those stories. And if we bring all that together, the bravery, the diversity, that really brings the strength of our culture together, and hopefully binds us together when we're under pressure at the World Cup.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar with the CP team, just what is that like to have all those different types of players from different backgrounds, ages, experiences, and just bringing them all together in a camp like this?
I mean, like with every coach, that any locker room, any team has different personalities, and for me as a coach, it's just learning what makes every player tick, understanding what their personal goals are, listening to them, and using that to push them on and hold them accountable when it comes to performing either in a training session or when we get into the competitive environment. So learning about the players, learning about what works for them, what doesn't, and then again using that accountability to push the team forward.
Yeah, and then last for me, several players train at Atlanta United's training facility. What's that been like, having those players at the facility and that relationship, and get those players having an opportunity to train at a world-class facility? Yeah,
I mean, Arthur Blank has obviously been extremely kind to US Soccer and the extended national teams in particular, not just for the National Training Centre, but also for the last 4 years affording us the ability to train at the Atlanta United's Academy. Been really important, first of all, from programmatic setting, that the extended national team has a pathway that you can play at grassroots, at club level, at national team level, and be professionals. The players at the academy for us get paid, so that's important from a programmatic perspective. But also when we look at the granular, does it make a difference to a player? Of course it does. They're training 5 days a week, they're getting touches on the ball, they're having meetings on Zoom and in the office with me, and again making those incremental improvements that hopefully when the pressure's on, that they turn them into things that can acquires the victory at the biggest tournaments.
You got a couple of players who are here from Georgia getting the chance to be a part of this camp. What does it mean to them getting the chance to really be a part of this camp here in their home city, their hometown, getting the chance to really show what they can do here?
Yeah, I mean, having local players and again having the training centre come here is a real advantage, that we've not got players travelling as far in, so they're a lot fresher when I receive them. But also it's great because people come to watch, right? We've got some press here today, hopefully some are coming later in the week, some parents, some friends come and watch, and that's something they haven't been exposed to a lot in their playing career. So having that extra little bit of pressure for me gives me the ability to reenact some elements that they could feel again at the World Cup. But having local players in is always a thrill, and it's that mix of accents between, we've got people in Seattle, we've got people in Georgia, we've got people come from Florida, and we've got a Scotsman and a Brazilian here. So it's a real diverse mix amongst the group.
So Maddie, Stuart Sharp, it's been really cool to catch up with Stuart on a couple of different occasions and see where things are. But as we talked to him in the interview, November, it's November, and everybody's sitting there thinking, November, it's 5 months away, 6 months away, but it's really not 6 months away.
No, it's not. It's coming up, and you're saying it now that it's going to be, it's in November, it's fine. But then November's going to come and you're gonna be like, how did it get here so fast? And that's basically what it is. And I think it's so important to have these camps as early on and to have a couple more sprinkled around, just that way you can see some talent. You can figure out who's going to be on that roster and figure out what's going to happen going forward. And that's important.
First player we're going to catch up with is the pride of Fortson, Georgia, part of the Centralized Training Program at Atlanta United. Went to Harris County High School, and I know Harris County High School from my time and traveling all the roads around the state when it comes to high school football and Football Fridays. But to be able to catch up with Jacob Crumbley and find out what it's like for someone from Harris County to be a part of something in a national camp, here's how Maddie and I caught up with Jacob.
So how's this camp? And so I know it's only one day, but you're in Georgia, new facility. How's it been for you overall?
Well, it's been pretty good. Obviously, I didn't have to travel very far, so there's not as much travel day fatigue set in. So that's nice. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be home for once in Georgia. So that's obviously great.
How are these camps like? Just having some of your teammates that you played with before, some new guys coming in. How's that been? Just getting everyone comfortable with each other and getting used to each other.
I think we have a really good core group, and I think we all do a very good job of welcoming the new guys, and we all just kind of mesh together very well. And we just make everybody comfortable. So.
You have a lot of experience playing with this team at that professional level. What has it been like to really share some of that leadership and that experience with some of the new players that have been brought into this camp?
It's always nice to mentor some kids and get them going on the right track. Let's see. I don't know. I just like setting a good example for them. So, yeah.
What's it been like for you to be a part of this process? How did you gravitate toward it in the first place?
Actually, my parents saw it on Facebook and obviously reached out to Coach and sent a couple videos to him, and I've been coming to camp since then. That was 2017, so I think I'm kind of on the right track. Hopefully can stay there.
Does it seem like 7 years?
It has flown by. I did not realize how quick it would fly by, but it does not feel like 7 years at all.
What's it been like to see it grow with you being a part of it, and now to where you're practicing at Atlanta United Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, you're here at Kennesaw State, you're getting the local impact, all these kinds of things?
It's incredible just to see from where we've came from, and then obviously we have the National Training Center coming to Fayetteville, and that's even closer to my home, so that's awesome.
Yeah, just on the field. I guess your last international competition was the Pan Am Games.
Mm-hmm.
Got bronze there.
Yeah.
What do you guys take from that experience in preparing for this upcoming World Cup?
Obviously, bronze wasn't the goal. The goal was gold, and just had some unfortunate scenarios go down. So the ball didn't fall our way, and we're just going to get back in the lab and go back to work. So it'll fall our way one day.
Just on you're being with Metro Atlanta or the greater Georgia area, what's it been like you seeing the growth of the sport, especially with Atlanta United? You obviously have a relationship with them personally. What's it been like for you just seeing the growth of the sports in the state?
The growth is incredible. Just there's a ton of new young kids around the state just getting into soccer and asking questions, and if I can help them out in any way, it's awesome.
Have you seen yourself, people knowing you and starting to recognize you and start looking for you for that guidance as a player now?
Maybe more around home, not as much in Atlanta. So
okay.
Well, because what are the conversations like down there around Hamilton at Harris County? People might know you as a Harris County Tiger.
Yeah.
and what are the conversations like when it comes to the sport in and of itself there in the western Georgia, in Columbus, that part of the state?
It's a lot different there versus up here. They're not as developed down there as we are up here and around the state or the city of Atlanta. So hopefully we can get it started a little more grassroots level down there and get some better coaches down there. So I just happened to make it out.
Is that something you want to try and do in the future? Try to bring a little bit more awareness to the sport? And
it's a possibility. It's a possibility. So we could work towards that one day, hopefully.
We've been told that you're an avid outdoorsman.
Yeah.
Isn't that
so? Let that one out.
So we're in the middle or end of May right now. What's an outdoorsman do this time of year?
Right now, we really just wrapped up turkey season. Okay. Tennessee, I think their season goes out this coming weekend. I think we're just all kind of slowing down from turkey season. The next season's obviously dove season that comes right there near the beginning of football season, and then you got bow season that starts after that. This next big season. So,
how do you get involved in that? Is it just growing up in the area you were from? Is that just like a common activity with your friends and family?
My dad was a retired state game warden, still works for him as a wildlife technician, so I was born in it, and it just took natural to me, and I just ran with it. So it's in my blood.
What was your most prized get?
Oh, turkeys are my favorite. Turkeys are by far my favorite. So there's just something different about them. There's a dialogue talking to turkeys. So.
Okay, then how would you compare hunting turkeys to what you do out here on the field? Is there a comparison?
No. No, not even close. Not even close.
So what's more difficult?
Oh, turkeys by far. Like it sounds crazy to say, but turkey hunting is by far more difficult than playing soccer.
How?
I can't explain it to you without you having to go do it.
It sounds like a feature.
I was just gonna say.
So the idea of a feature, I can't do it. I could never last when it comes to doing this kind of a feature. But in getting Jacob to compare turkey hunting and training camp, and he's like, yeah, turkey hunting is a lot harder than training camp. This screams feature. I think you could do a great job with it, going out there into Western Georgia and trying to see what Jacob means by all of this. I mean, we see training camps with soccer all the time, but he says turkey hunting's harder.
Well, first of all, how am I getting roped into doing the feature and going hunting? I think he was directing that at you, John.
You're faster than I am.
I think you should be the one to tackle this one.
You can keep up with the young. You're a young person yourself. You can keep up with the youngins all by yourself. But no, it's I would love to see how this actually would be more difficult. Maybe it's just having a couple of cameras kind of hovering around, and maybe you put like a GoPro on Jacob or something. But it was fun to catch up with Jacob, and he was a great sport when it came to our questions going sideways. But to have someone from a smaller town outside of Columbus, I mean, literally Harris County, Hamilton, Fortson, it is 85 to 185, and you're like Callaway Gardens. That kind of area is where you are when you're looking at Harris County. And just the reach that the program has, and B, the reach that Jacob can have by being a part of the program. I think it's a great two-way relationship here. Absolutely. I mean, he mentioned it in that interview, how close the new training facility is going to be to him. And it's going to be great for him. It's very close to home. Can he do that? But it's also great, too, especially in that area, getting to hear a little bit more about the sport and the beautiful game and getting to help spread that. I really believe that he's going to be a good stepping point, especially in helping to promote the beautiful game. Michael Ruiz was also there at the camp. He's part of the Centralized Training Program at Atlanta United. But our last interview is where we catch up with the man who wears the C, Josh Brunais. And Josh, the longest tenured player on the roster, part of the Centralized Training Program at Atlanta United. And here's Maddie's conversation with Josh and what it's like to be a part of things up there in Kennesaw and with the national team.
Alrighty. So first of all, my first question for you, Josh, is it being in Atlanta, kind of home central for you. What was it like hearing that it was going to be here?
The camp itself?
Yeah.
I liked it. It's great to not to have a big travel day. It's great to start having camps where we know the NTC is going to be, just starting getting in that. I think for the team it's really good because it's becoming a routine.
Yeah.
Coming to the Georgia weather, getting used to this travel, it's going to be a big part of our future. And then, I mean, selfishly for me, it was a 15-minute drive. I'm out in Woodstock, so I didn't mind just coming in last minute, making sure my hotel room was ready before I got it. Didn't have to do a long wait. So selfishly, I enjoyed it, but I see a lot of good for it from the team.
You mentioned the weather. Is that something you're kind of giving your teammates a little bit of preparing them for what the weather is like here in Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, we've been here a few times in Rome, Georgia, and I mean, I think it's always a gut check every year because if you don't, if you live somewhere a little drier, a little cooler, it's always like you need to get used to this weather. But I think we're doing well. But yeah, it always kind of hits you in the gut at the beginning of every camp. You never really get used to it until you're on the last day going home, and then you just you do it all over again next time.
Yeah. And you have a lot of players who came in for this camp who are also from the local area. What has it been like to get to talk to them a little bit and get to share some experiences being from Georgia, being from the Atlanta area, and just being a part of this camp with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the majority of the Atlanta guys here or Georgia guys here are in centralized training with me, so I get to see them every day or most days, which is great because we get to bring kind of our training here, and then we kind of build our, like, not our brotherhood, that's a bad way of saying it, but our style of play. We can like kind of build that foundation with our coach and then bring it to the regular team, and we kind of can be that example for what we want the team to set. So that's great. Outside of that, it's just good to enjoy Atlanta together. You know, what they don't, what I think is fun, I can tell them. What they think is fun, I can try out. And you know, but we have a big age difference. I'm the oldest one on the team, so I might not want to do the drinking stuff that they might do, and I just want to maybe stay home and do a puzzle or something. I don't know, but it's a good talk, and enjoy it.
Listen, I've been doing a friends puzzle with a friend of mine. It's been like every time I go over there, it's always just sitting on our table and it's not completed.
Right,
we finally did it the
there
other
you
day.
go.
We finished it, so it's all good.
I don't know why I've gotten into it, but it's just like, it's my thing now, so yeah.
I love it, absolutely. But I want to touch on that. Obviously, being one of the older guys on the team, you've been a part of this progression and the building of this team. What has it been like for you to see the growth of this team moving forward, especially into this year?
Every camp, it gets more and more competitive. Our name is finally big enough to where people are coming, wanting to try out for the team. We're getting guys who are just incredible with their, you know, people say disability, I say with their ability, within their ability. I mean, it's incredible. So we're always being challenged. So I've been on this team since late 2015, and I'm not guaranteed a spot on any tournament. So you can just see how I can see how the team's changed from 2015 when I joined, and now it's just way more competitive. There's no country that doesn't think we're a threat. We're not a walkover. And I love that feeling. I love when people are worried about us, and I love knowing that we're a high-level country and within this program and within this sport. But it's not promised that I'll ever go to a tournament, and it's not promised for any of these guys. That level's really high, and I think it makes the team better along the road. So.
And seeing you on the pitch today, especially in training, you're very vocal on the pitch. You're directing guys, you're helping them out, being that leader. What has it been like for you to really grow into that role?
It came pretty easy to me. I was pretty local in 3rd Ranger Battalion in Columbus, Georgia. I did a few rotations out there, and I don't want to say I'm a natural leader, but I might have had a little niche for it in the Army, and I really grew into that role, and I see how it relates to the field. I mean, you're still leading men, and I hope I'm a good role model, and I hope I'm always setting an example or saying the right things on the field. I know sometimes I'm wrong, but I'd rather give direction instead of like hesitate and not give anything, and you're 50-50 at that point, so I'd rather have something to say. But I hope they appreciate it, and I appreciate that they allow me to do that, because somebody can tell me, shut up, you know what I mean, you're not making sense. And nobody said that yet, and I think Coach has acknowledged that as well, allowing me to be the captain. So yeah, I grew onto it pretty fast, and I appreciate it, I enjoy it.
And looking back to the 2023 Para-Pan American Games, you guys placed bronze. What was something you guys learned from that tournament, and then pushing forward, you can use it again going into the World Cup?
That's a great question. Not the result we wanted. It's always great to get a medal. I think, when you see it on TV, you see bronze medalists doing backflips, but it's also the teams we come up against a lot. And we've beaten Brazil before, we've beaten Argentina before, and they're beatable teams, and we didn't do it last tournament. So we still got a bronze, which is good, and it's good for the program, it's good for the boys, it's good for our mentality. But I also like that we weren't satisfied with a bronze, and I also know that it makes us push here on the field more, because they are beatable, and we want to be that team where we're consistently beating them, not just 50-50 or 60-40.
Yeah. So my last question for you, Jacob Crumbley mentioned his love for hunting. Are you going to be joining him anytime?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I will be puzzling. I'm not going to sit in the woods at 5 a.m. and pretend to it's too dry. I've done my time in the woods. No, I'm going to eat ham because turkey's trash. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Right.
I completely agree. Honey baked ham,
correct.
Better.
Yeah.
Best one, especially at Thanksgiving. That's
right
my
down
go-to.
92. That's where I go to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
It was great getting to talk to Josh a little bit after the training camp. We just talked a little bit about the growth of the sport and the growth of this team, because he's been there since the beginning, getting the chance to really see how the team has grown and what are some changes and everything that has been developed, especially here. And one of the biggest things I think was a big takeaway is when talking about the 2023 Para-Pan American Games, and they came in bronze, he said, winning bronze is great. You see people who are very excited, but that's not what we want to do. We want to win. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see against the World Cup. We also bonded over the fact that, we don't really like turkey. Ham is probably better, and he's not going to be joining Jacob Crumbley in any of the hunting excursions that will be happening.
Oh, very, very cool. Quick reminder, Carson Lundhagen from Canton, also part of the Georgia contingent with Jacob as a part of everything here out of the state of Georgia. And the CPMNT is going to gather 2 more times before Stuart names his 14-player roster for the November World Cup. Right now, you've got 18 players in camp, 9 players that helped the U.S. claim that bronze at the Pan Am Games in Santiago, Chile. And you have a couple of players taking part in their first CP men's national team effort. And so very, very cool to see a lot of different states represented as well. Virginia has 12, it leads the list of the 12 different states of the 50 here in the U.S. that are represented. Virginia, Arizona, California, Georgia, Illinois, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas. Really, really cool to see just the expansion of the sport, expansion of the rosters, and the reach of the program here in general when it comes to the CPMNT.
Yeah, and to have so many different states represented in this national team, it's great. It's great to see, and shows exactly what the U.S. is trying to do. One nation. That's what it is, trying to show that, and I think that's exactly what you're seeing here from this training camp going forward, and what you're going to see in that World Cup roster.
2024 IFC PF World Cup held November in Salou, Spain, coming up just around the corner, and we mean that in all seriousness because November's November, but it's also right around the corner. So once again, thanks to US Soccer letting us come out and hang out and see what's going on there with the U.S. Men's Cerebral Palsy National Team. Head coach Stuart Sharp, big thanks to them. Thanks to Tracy Messier and everybody attached to the program, Herman Safera, when it comes to the media relations side of things. Thanks for opening the door and letting us come and hang out with you guys here at this 5-day camp as we're getting ready for the CPMNT as they chase after a title at the World Cup in Salou, Spain. For Maddie, I'm Jon. That's another go-round here of SDH's coverage of U.S. soccer.